What's going on, Benbrook, Texas? Welcome to episode 108 of Talking Throws Podcast, Texas Style. I'm Coach Jason.
And I'm Coach Jeanette.
And we are throws coaches with the track club, the Throwing Factory. You can go check out our bios on throwingfactory.com website. Also, too, we have some brand new apparel, sweatshirts, and stuff on the shopping page of that website. We're doing online lessons as well, so that can be reached out between the two of us. For youth, for Jill, Janelle's doing a lot of youth stuff. Morgan Knight out in Javelin, Texas is doing a lot of work for Knight Power and Performance. And then Coach Jarvis is doing East at the Throwing Factory, helping all those throwers out in the east part of the DFW Metroplex. So go to that website, thethrowingfactory.com, to get more information. We want to thank our Season 7 sponsors. First off, Texas Track and Field and Coach Association. That website is ttfca.org. Mr. Stuart Cantor is very loyal to us, and we appreciate his loyalty for the past numerous episodes. Right now, if you're looking for track meets, indoor, outdoor, that's the site to go to. Also, the Winter Clinic is coming up. I think he's just set the schedule for that for the first weekend in January. That's going to be down in Waco. So if you would like to attend, go to that website and get the hotel information and how to register for the clinic. 4throws.com, quality implements priced right. Right now, if you go to 4throws.com, you can see an indoor shot put on for $170. You can see outdoor 4Throws training iron shot put on sale for $29. You can see Javelin training balls on for $19. You can see a Vixen Super Spin discus on for $65, or there's an even 85% rim weight discus on for $90. If you want to use the code TalkingThrows10, you'll get 10% off, which is going to probably handle your shipping. Our next sponsor is Ready Up Athletic Development, ran by Zach Phillips. You can go to that website, readyupad.com. You can use a code called Throws10 to get his basic basic throws strength training program on the site Train Heroic. Just use that Throws10 code to get the 20% off. You can buy these Fiber Sports discus at 4throws.com. Or if you have in a different part of the state or country, you want to go to fibersportsdiscus.com to maybe find a local dealer with you. But if you go to 4throws.com, use that code TalkingThrows10, you can get 10% off. Also, we would like to thank our sponsor, NTX Timing. NTX Timing, you can go to that website, ntxtiming.com. That's carl.hornback at ntxtiming.com. Then Lifting DFW Mobile Lifting Station. We're doing lifting lessons, small groups. If you don't have a coach and want to learn Olympic lifting, contact the people at liftingdfw.com. Today's guest was just currently named the throws coach at TCU. Prior, he was the throws coach at University of Louisiana at Lafayette. He is a graduate of LSU. He threw at LSU from 2012 to 2016, where he was coached by Mr. Derek Rush. He threw all 5 implements in college. He was an All-American 1 year in the Javelin, which is kind of his specialist. He grew up in Louisiana, where he was a state champion in the discus and in the indoor shot put. Welcome to Texas. Welcome to TCU, Mr. Terry Hughes.
Okay, sounds good.
Is that the football field? Are you like in your office or?
Oh yeah, it's my office. Yeah, it's the football field.
Nice.
Yeah, I figured this would be the best place to kind of do it,
Cool.
Where I felt most comfortable.
Smart.
That's really cool.
All right, so we're here with the new throws coach at TCU, Mr. Terry Hughes. Terry, you're new to Fort Worth. You're new to TCU. Kind of tell us broad picture what's going on with track and field over in Fort Worth.
So the whole coaching staff is fairly new. Okay. That we only have one coach on staff that's been here over 2 years, but everybody else has been here under 2 years. So for the most part, we're just trying to kind of rebuild the culture the way our head coach sees fit, and especially with our individual event groups as well. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Who's the head coach at TCU now?
Kadivas Robinson.
Coach Robinson.
Yes.
Okay. Now he's a TCU alumni, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's school record holder. Been to Olympics a couple times. World champion. He's ran 143 and 800. He's a Yeah, he's legit.
Oh
Legit.
wow, wow. Now you have a connection with him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we
What's that
both.
connection?
He. So my junior and senior year at LSU, he was a coach there. He's either junior or senior year, or senior year, and then I did a volunteer assistantship under my event coach at the time, Derek Yush,
Okay,
and he was on staff as the distance coach there. So
okay.
yeah, we kind of worked, I guess you could say, together, and then he was also a coach on staff while I was there. So
Awesome, awesome. So getting into the throws specific, kind of what are you looking to do with the throws program at TCU?
so coming in, I already knew there was a bunch of talent in Texas.
Yes.
So my whole goal was to really come in and hit all of the big hitters that are just in Texas. So I just feel like you can be very successful by doing that. So it's just going to be really just getting them here,
Yeah.
and then kind of going from there. I think once we get the ball rolling, it'll kind of be like a year to year thing. We're bringing in very good people in Texas, but that's the main goal,
Gotcha.
especially in
Gotcha.
Dallas. In Dallas, they have tons of talent. So
Yeah.
I feel like coaches sometimes overlook what's in their backyard, by trying to
Yeah.
go get, people from different countries and things like that. But
Yeah.
that's my whole goal.
Gotcha. So if those big hitters are looking at TCU, kind of, tell us about your coaching philosophy, kind of how you structure your training, and kind of this, what you're working on, or what do you want to do?
Okay, so coaching philosophy, I would say if you did come and throw under me, you're not just another number, So I try to build a relationship with each individual athlete and relate to them in their way, and I feel like that goes a long way with coaching as well. So you building these relationship with these athletes helps you understand how they best can take your cues and advice when throwing, And I also feel that you should be able to know as a coach that if your athlete is not really in the right headspace at practice, because we're going to see them. I see my athletes 6 days a week, so
Oh wow.
I should be able to know if they're not, if something's off, and then
Gotcha.
I'm able to go talk with them or try to figure out, because coaches are more than just coaches.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, as far as that 6 days a week, kind of walk us through kind of, Monday through Saturday, kind of what y'all are doing a little bit in your training. So those big hitters can kind of have an idea of what y'all doing in the off season.
So we lift Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Okay.
After practice. So it's always from 3:30 ish, sometimes at 4. So whenever everybody's done, we all lift at once.
Okay.
And then Wednesday is our active recovery day. So we're doing anything from med balls to drills and things like that. And then depending on where we're at in the year, Monday, Tuesdays, and the Thursday, Saturdays, just kind of go from throwing, drilling, and all kind of things like that.
Okay.
Saturday
Okay.
too. Saturday we'll lift 9:30, and then before that we're throwing.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So in those throwing sessions, are you like one day shot put for boys and girls, or is it kind of a combination of hammer, with maybe your javelin throwers, kind of
Oh,
what's that?
so depending. So I'm out there on uh Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from I guess around 11 till lift.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, I have sessions broken up in between there to where they get a lot of individual kind of time. So I don't have any more than probably 3 athletes at a session,
Gotcha.
and they're all
Gotcha.
broken up based off of their event as well.
Oh really? Okay.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah,
Do
so I'll
you
have. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead? No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have shot. So depending on, like, I have 2 girls that throw shot and disc, and
Okay.
they're pretty much trained together for the most part, almost every day together.
Okay.
But if I have, so I have another girl that throws shot, hammer. So one day she'll be with a girl who throws hammer disc on the hammer days. So it just kind of depends. That way they're not getting tired of the same person, you know. But it changes it up for them a little bit.
Gotcha. So my question was, sorry for interrupting you, was does that mix include boys and girls at the same time, or do you kind of keep them separate?
Yep. Yeah, no, boys and girls together. It really I go by event because that's the most difficult to kind of like if you have shot and you can do disc and hammer kind of together, but it's just a lot easier if you have them kind of separated. So I'll go more by event than by gender.
Gotcha. Okay. So how has it been recruiting so far for this year? What are you learning about TCU and what it has to offer some of the student athletes that you're coming in and stuff? Kind of tell us big picture about academics at TCU.
So I found out that TCU is way more than I was thinking it was. They really provide everything that a student athlete needs to be successful. The best department would be our business department.
Okay.
I would say maybe that in the engineering department, but business probably is looked upon as the highest degree here, I would think, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
But there's just a lot of things that TCU, everybody's so nice. Like it's a lot of things that TCU has to offer student athletes.
Yeah. And you have great facilities to train in.
Yes, really. Yeah. Very, very good facilities.
Lots of, that's a nice thing to offer.
Yes. And then they just approved a $40 million project to redo. I think football's getting their own weight room, and then they're going to like give our weight room a whole facelift too. So
really,
yeah, I think they're starting that in this year or next year. They should break ground with it.
Yeah. So during a day like today, when it's real cold and wet outside, do you have access to go do training maybe in the indoor facility? If football's not in there or something like that.
To a certain extent, we're kind of working on that. They just put a new turf in there, so it's kind of iffy at the moment. But we are in works of putting an inside throwing area with a net under our stadium right now. Okay. So we're gonna put some lights and stuff in there and try to get that going.
Oh, wow! It's between the baseball park and the bleachers back there.
Yep. Yeah, they have some room in there that I saw. There's already a net up there. It's not set up because they don't have lights, but so it's halfway kind of set up. So that's the plan, is to kind of get that up and running.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Cool. Now your background being a Louisiana boy has been javelin. So are you looking to kind of make TCU kind of a javelin hotbed for the Big 12 maybe?
It might, probably after this year it might look like that, but that is definitely not that's definitely not the plan. It just kind of is working out that way on the women's side. But that's not the plan, although that is probably the weakest event in the Big 12, I would say. Compared to where I came from, it's definitely the weakest event. So you could score some pretty big points in the javelin for sure.
Gotcha, for sure. Now, are you? With that being said, are you coaching the multis as well? Because I know Coach Chu handles some of the multis over there as well, right?
Yes, I'm not. I'm helping while Coach Chu is kind of out. She's had surgery and stuff, so she's been out. She'll be out for a little while, but I've been helping in that aspect. But for the most part, she kind of covers the multis and will just talk to me if she needs anything. But yeah, for the most part, she's covering the multis.
Gotcha. So where were you at before you came to TCU?
I was at University of Louisiana, Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns.
Raging Cajuns, okay, and that's in Lafayette, Louisiana, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Lafayette.
Now you had a pretty good program going on down there for the short period of time that you were there, and I even think too. This is my rumble question that I always ask in these episodes. You said you had a girl go to nationals this year that plays pretty well in Austin, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you got her to that point.
Oh, her story is actually kind of crazy, but She sent me an email. This was COVID year. So she sent me an email um, asking if she could walk on, and she's only thrown in one meet, and the meet she threw was 120, and then COVID happened. So I was like, that's pretty much our walk on standard. So yeah, you can come. And then she had a lot of like big figures kind of backing her up. Her dad went to Northwestern, and he knows the president that was over there at the time, things like that. So she just had a very good resume. So we let her on a team. And then instantly, when we started throwing javelin, that I kind of knew that she was going to be something serious, you know. Okay. And then at the time too, I had a girl who ended up making USA Olympic trials on the team as well.
Oh, nice!
So they were training together, and I think that's ultimately what kind of made her jump up. But her freshman year, she made it to nationals and placed, I think it was 13th or 12th, maybe 12th, and got second team All-American and went from 120 to on 170, 171, right at 53 her first year. And then the next year she tore her UCL. So the last year was her coming back from the Tommy John surgery, and she still made nationals and made a pretty good run at it as well.
Wow. What was her name?
Maria Bienvenu.
Okay. Now she's already graduated from ULL, right?
She's graduating in December.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. So you were at ULL for a couple of years?
Yeah, I was there for 4 years.
For 4 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So are you kind of walking in with the same mindset that you're walking in with TCU, that how you turned that program around to take a thrower like Maria and develop her into among the nation's best?
Yes and no. So at the levels are different. So I can't, well, at least I don't feel like I have the time to really develop somebody like I would at UL, just because of how competitive it is in the Big 12. Yeah. So I should get a lot better shots at higher level people. Okay. And so that's kind of the goal, is to recruit higher level and then kind of do the same thing I was doing there, but start ahead, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Now at ULL, did you do boys and girls at the same time?
Yes.
Coaching the throws?
Yeah. I did. My javelin group got kind of big over there. It's just a lot easier to get javelin throwers in Louisiana because they throw javelin high school. Gotcha. And all the in-state help that they get with money and things like that. I think I had probably at one time 7 or 8 javelin girls, so that kind of got a lot. But I never really had that many guys, so that kind of balanced it out a little bit. So that kind of got a good, a little hectic at times, you know. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of the same thing that I'm doing here for the most. And I also had I had a girl that threw all 4 events at UL when I don't really have that here. So.
And that was the kind of thrower you were at LSU, someone who could throw 5 implements, and we're going to get in that, later on. But is that type of thrower you're looking for to kind of help lay the foundation at TCU, that athlete that has a little aptitude for all 5 events or 4 events?
Yes, for sure. Definitely. I mean, javelin being the outlier, but definitely coming in versatile for sure is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that with our head coach, and that's the direction we kind of want to go for sure, is having a versatile thrower.
Right.
Throwers.
Are you going to look at have any training camps or summer camps or winter camps just for throwing?
Yeah. So on paper, we do have a camp right after NCAA Nationals. It's going to be a Nike camp here.
Okay.
It's going to be all events, and I will definitely be advertising for that shortly. But yeah, so it'll be the week. It'll be a Monday to Friday thing. We're still kind of putting pen to paper, with the dates and everything. But that we know that's the date, that's the week we're doing it. It's just the small details that we're working on now. But yeah, we'll definitely have, and I do want to have a throws only camp as well. Hopefully after that camp.
Gotcha.
I know it just gets a little hectic with the USA Nationals and the Nike Nationals and stuff at that time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm sure the Fort Worth kids would and the Dallas kids would gravitate to coming to TCU to possibly do a camp and stuff. Because I talked about this last week about there's a niche for those multi throwers, especially on the female side, looking for good javelin coaches and good javelin training. Just because in the state of Texas we are not adapt or to doing much javelin.
Yeah, if they let javelin happen in Texas, there's no telling what would happen with the javelin event. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, and
that would be.
I was going to talk about this as a high school thrower. And this is something I really want to know. Maybe us coaches in the state of Texas can follow what's going on in Louisiana. How does Louisiana, like high school meets, how do they juggle a javelin, shot put, and discus, at a high school meet? Do they do all three on the same day? Are they getting 6 throws? Kind of what's the procedure in Louisiana?
Yeah, they do them all the same day.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. So they'll usually have 2 events going on at once. And it's usually javelin and one of the others, because usually you're gonna have a shot disc person that throws both, so you can't have those go off at the same time unless you did women and men. But they would do javelin was usually always the first event, just because I guess they had the highest danger. But they were the first event, and then they would flip whatever needed to be flipped. But that's mainly, and then they were throwing grass pretty much everywhere.
And that was going to be my next question. So if they're throwing on grass, are they out there in javelin shoes? Is it a football runway that they're kind of using as
in high school you see all kind of stuff, but football cleats was a big thing. When I was in high school, I had javelin spikes with inch. I had the 1-inch spikes in there.
Okay.
So that's what I was using in high school.
Sorry. So I know I was a high school coach forever, and I know we don't have javelin and hammer, but it's one of the biggest holdups for us javelin is that we wouldn't have a runway, because it sounds like having a runway is not necessary, right? For these high schools to go and then invest all this money to runway. You already got a football field, just buy some javelins.
Yep.
Right?
And I would help our coach, my head coach at the time, our high school throws coach at the time, John Talley, would have us. He taught us how to paint the javelin lines in the football grass. So we would spend a practice doing that for our home meets. But yeah, you really just need a field. And our regional meets, were in grass. Some people don't touch track until they get to state at LSU.
Really?
So yeah, it can be done in the grass, no problem.
Wow. I think we have plenty of practice football fields around here in Texas that we can.
That's what I'm saying.
There's not a shortage of football fields.
Now, is the girls throwing 600 gram and boys throwing 800 in Louisiana high school?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, that doesn't change. Doesn't change from high school to college.
No. Also, too, in the state of Louisiana, in Texas, and you might not even be aware of this, but there's so many meets that they can do before their district meet. So they're only allowed 8 meets before they could do their district meet. Is there a restriction on the number of meets they can do like in Louisiana?
To my knowledge, there isn't. Okay. I do think y'all start a lot earlier, though, because we have indoor in Louisiana. So I think y'all start a lot earlier here in Texas, but so y'all have a lot more meets. Yeah. But if you go compare them, I think Louisiana just has way less opportunities to have meets, because after the indoor, it's I think the indoor finishes in probably February. And then they take a week and then they'll start doing outdoor meets. But I think that's kind of the reason why.
So are your track athletes in Louisiana, are they training in early fall to get ready for because that seems like if you're a sprinter, you're training indoor for sprinting, then you're going to your outdoor. Is that year round? Am I right on that?
Yes and no. So, Louisiana has some weird high school rules,
Okay.
especially with throwing. Like they can't, something like they can't touch an implement until a certain date, but then they
Oh,
wouldn't be even ready for indoor shot. But there's loopholes that coaches are using to kind of get around that. I'm just
Okay.
not fully aware of what the
Gotcha.
loopholes are. But yeah, they are kind of training, but they have to do something uh like they have to use a loophole to train with implements.
because Texas UIL for Texas track and field is pretty, like you can throw, run. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
year
not any
round.
really.
We just
Yeah,
have
that's how
those.
it should be.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just have those restrictions on the meet. So, like, if
But
say if you went to LSU indoor high school, that first meet they have in January, and you're representing, a Fort Worth ISD school, that meet counts towards your 8. And
Mm.
some people don't like that because they want the 8 meets to be their outdoor meets, and getting ready for district and regionals, and going to
Oh. So in
yeah, and
Texas they have a limit of 8 meets. Is
yes, before their district meet. But that's at a high school. Now you can go as a club
not count.
or go
uh,
unattached, and it doesn't count towards the 8 meet high school restriction. So you have to if you wear your high school uniform 8 or more times, that counts. But if you go unattached or with a throwing club or a track and field club, that doesn't count.
that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's the reason I was asking too, because that's just the 2 different states of how they're juggling, the indoor season and outdoor season, and you're throwing an extra implement, and
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of, I don't want to say we're behind the 8 ball, but that's why I was kind of curious of what's going on is Louisiana and stuff and handle that. So,
Yeah.
Definitely behind with javelin, which we've known that, but
yeah, for sure.
to me, javelin is safer than a discus, and I know it's
Yeah.
probably, but that discus. Nah, and javelin goes farther than the discus.
Yeah.
Depending on who's throwing it. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's what and what though, because if you look at the best mark in javelin, it's going to be further. But I think average wise, it's what and what with discus.
Oh, really?
I would think so because your top end discus throwers are throwing over 200, and then
Yeah.
your top end javelin throwers aren't throwing much over 200.
Yeah.
I would say in high school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are very few high schools that are going to have a kid throwing 200 in the discus. So
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to move, my point. You have to
Yes.
move.
Gotcha.
Yes.
You have the field to do
Gotcha.
it.
So talk to us a little bit about philosophy. You're coaching Hammer, kind of your philosophy on Hammer, what's your philosophy on disc, rotational shot put, nothing great detail, but just kind of, if those big hitters are listening, kind of tell us your mindset on all those implements.
Okay, so what event do you kind of want to start with?
Let's start with disc.
Okay, so can you make the question more, I guess, specific?
Yeah.
Like, is
Do
there
you have
anything?
a certain philosophy that, like on the entry, on the sweeper out of the back, on the finish, that you care more than maybe
That I
other people do in
preach?
the discus?
So when people come in, they're gonna kind of have some technique that they've learned set in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they're here, they've done something right. So my philosophy pretty much behind all events is finding what they've done right and kind of keeping it, and then making the stuff that they're doing wrong or not as good and emphasizing that part of it. So I don't want to rewrite anything. Sometimes, I mean, things kind of do need to be rewritten a little bit, but I'm not trying to really rewrite anything. If you made it here, you made it here for a reason. That's how I feel it. And I recruited you for a reason. So that's why you're here. And then I also recruited you knowing what you look like when you came here. So that's another thing that so I think recruiting kind of does a lot, with that. And then I also recruit based off of personality as well. So it's not just how far you've thrown. If you come in and I bring you in on a vision, we don't mesh, then I don't think it's going to do either of us a good thing for the most part. If we're fighting the whole time or or you come in and you don't get along with a group, then the whole group is kind of thrown off. So it's a bigger picture than just numbers, in my opinion, philosophy wise, you know. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I look at it that way. But yeah, I'm not trying to rewrite anything. I'm just trying to make the things that don't help you better and make the parts of the throw that are hindering you not hinder you anymore.
Gotcha. You know, and throwing sometimes looks as an individual thing is because it's you in the ring, but I hear more and more throws coaches talk about the group, the throwing group, and getting along. I'm just curious, why is that so important for you know, to kind of be a good fit among, you know, among the throwing squad?
So the mental state of an athlete, which you guys probably know, has a lot to do with you coaching them and what they how they take direction. You could bring in somebody that is throwing very good, but they're lazy. And just because they're throwing good, you have athletes that are looking up to them. So they're like, oh, they're not doing this. They're messing around. So they'll just start messing around just because they don't look at it as it being like a serious thing. So one bad egg can really ruin the group, honestly.
That's great.
And that it just saves you a headache from having to deal with putting more time into things other than throwing, if that makes sense. Because they're with each other a lot, just like I'm with them. They're with each other 6 days a week. Some of the event groups might not see each other as much, but they're with each other a lot, and that has a lot to do with how they will adapt.
So do you prefer, how do I say this, medium-sized groups or like smaller groups? You know, because some squads have 6 or 7 boys and 8 girls on their squad, about 12 to 13. Do you prefer smaller numbers where you could focus on more of the individual throwing, or larger numbers, or kind of?
So school I came from, I had a total of around 16 to 18 throwers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty. I mean, you take out the 8 javelin girls that I had, but it's still a pretty big number. But I was kind of able to do that at the school I was at. But here, they're going to need a little bit more attention to compete in the Big 12, is what I see. So I'm not looking really to have a group that big anymore. But I mean, if it happens, it kind of happens. They're all going to be high quality athletes if it is like that. I feel like you do need training partners though that are what and what with you level wise to kind of push you to that next level or push each other. But other than that, I don't see myself having a group that size while I'm here.
Great answer. So
yeah, quality over quantity.
Say that again.
Quality over quantity.
There you go. That's a great point. So let's go back to those those LSU days, that thrower.
You as a thrower.
Yeah. So let's run us through what it was like, working with Coach Derek Rush, and, kind of maybe also to some philosophy that you've taken from him and you've kind of molded into your coaching, but then you threw with some great throwers at LSU and threw all 5 implements at LSU as well. So, kind of walk us through that experience as a thrower in the SEC.
So definitely wouldn't take that experience back. The teammates that I've had there and they're like my best friends now to this day. One of them coaches at GCU now. He's a throws coach there. His name is Jeremy Tuttle. Still good friends with him. I'm still good friends with Rodney Brown, who was a discus thrower, who's the LSU record holder in the discus. Really good friends with him, and I'm really good friends with David Collins, who was a walk-on at LSU and ended up scoring in the SEC in the weight throw. So I'm good those are my best friends to this day. And then as far as Derek Hughes, so I get a lot of my philosophy from him because when he brought us all in, he kind of brought us in with that same thought of having us come in and be a group that's together. And then that helped us really be successful as a throws group during that time. We did everything together. And that was 4 of the best years of my life just because of how close we all were with each other. Oh, not to mention Tori Bliss too. She was SEC record holder at one point in time until Raven Saunders broke it. But she was also on the squad, and she's a good friend as well. So
Awesome.
a very solid group of throwers. And then I just from being in that situation, that's kind of why I wanted to build a situation like that and have people that are all kind of together, because I know what it can do to you.
Yeah. Did you just gravitate towards Coach Rush the first time you met him?
Yes. So I did, honestly. I was decent in high school.
Okay.
I took a visit to Mississippi State. I took a visit to LSU and then some of the local schools in Louisiana. But definitely felt the biggest bond with Yush for sure at that point. He just seemed very down to earth, which he is, and then like a very people person, somebody that if I saw on a day to day, it wouldn't just be track 24/7. It would be he's going to ask you how you're doing. It's going to be more than just service level with him.
Okay.
So that's kind of yeah. So that's how I kind of bonded with him as well.
Now, did he bring you in with the idea to kind of do all 4 implements, or, because you threw all 5 and you were pretty solid, and, the Javelin's the one that sticked out the most, but you had, some decent numbers in others as well.
Yeah. So I definitely coming in not throwing shot. I wasn't really supposed to throw shot. I threw shot one time in I think it was once or twice in college. One time was because it was a 3-way meet. Okay. And I hit a glide. I did a glide. And but definitely the discus, javelin, and hammer was what I was supposed to throw.
Okay.
So coming out of high school, I threw all 3 of them. I had John Tyler is a really good high school coach. And I didn't kind of know what he was going to do, but in SEC, as you know, it is very you have to be the best of the best to score in that event. So if you're doing all 3 in the SEC, you are very elite. So that was not really an option. So it ended up being just jab, which was the one I was the best at. That was my best. Yeah.
Gotcha. And you wind up throwing over 210, and I think your senior year made All-American?
No, not All-American.
You made it to the Eastern prelim final.
Yeah,
right?
made it to regionals.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, made it to regionals. But yeah, that was a pretty good experience too. That was cool.
What kind of mentality did you have as a thrower?
That's a good question.
Were you chalk everywhere and screaming and taping your fingers all the way to your elbows?
No. So I was a chalk guy. I was a yeller, I guess you could say. I wasn't one of the guys that would slap their face or anything like that. But I don't know. I'll say I was like an average thrower for the most part, as far as the way I acted. I didn't do anything to where I didn't care about it, but I wasn't anybody that was very crying if you didn't do well, things like that. I just saw it as an opportunity to get better.
Gotcha. Do you feel training for weight and hammer helped you for javelin? And just those other auxiliary implements kind of helped you for your main javelin?
That is interesting. I don't think that it really helped or it really hurt. I only trained hammer, I think my freshman year and sophomore year.
Okay.
I don't think it really did one or did another. I do wish that I stayed with hammer though. All 4 years. Yeah. I do wish I did that. If I were to go back, I would stay with hammer for a little bit longer. I guess from seeing Derek Yush is a very good hammer coach.
Yeah.
Very good coach in general, but in my opinion, his hammer coaching is elite. Yeah. And just the young me just didn't really understand that. you know. So I wish I really stuck with hammer and javelin throughout the whole 4 years.
Yeah. Did he try to get you to spend more time with javelin with hammer, and you were just like, I want to focus in on this other implement?
Yes. Yeah, I would say he did. And it's hard going in throwing 3 events that I was pretty decent at in high school. It's hard to not do what you know and learn something else, like put something down that you've been doing for a while and learn something else was kind of disencouraging, because hammer's like a love-hate relationship, and it's especially the first 2 years. But once you get past that, I feel like it gets a lot better. But I was not patient enough when it came to that.
No.
I wasn't.
Most youngsters aren't.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. I wanted what I knew, and that was it,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something we try to do among our club. And, as far as educating our high school throwers and, throwers coming out of the state of Texas, is gravitate towards that third implement. Just like you and I've talked about, it makes you more marketable to be more than just that shot put discus thrower, to have that javelin on your resume or have that hammer and to be able to have video and saying, oh, I'm aptitude of doing a 3-turn and I know how I can, to push the ball, so to speak. It just makes you, I guess, more marketable.
Yes, that is very true. And that's what a lot of coaches are looking for. If you can be elite in all 3, like, they have no problem throwing a scholarship at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Head coach too. Head coach he has the utmost say so in what is getting offered, and that it makes it a lot easier on the throws coach, that if he's bringing somebody that's pretty good in all 3 to him, he's very happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. So now, did you throw for Coach Rush all 4 years at LSU?
Yep, all 4 years.
Oh,
and then
wow.
He left. So I did all 4 years, and then I did a volunteer assistant under him that next year. And then I think he left after that year and went to Alabama.
Oh, wow. So do you still talk to him since he's been in Alabama?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh,
of course.
Wow.
He's pretty much my mentor.
Yeah. Was he proud of you when you got the TCU job?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, me and him now are like very good friends, not just like a coach and athlete type of bond. It's a lot more now.
Yeah.
He can say a lot more things. Not an athlete, and I'm a little bit more older, I guess you could say.
Yeah, y'all might have some kids competing against each other if you get those big hitters coming.
Yeah.
Hey, track fans, as you're getting ready for the 2024 spring season and you're looking for someone to run off your meets, you need to contact North Texas Timing. That's ntxtiming.com out of Fort Worth. For all your track meet needs, they'll give you the opportunity to coach your own kids and let them run the meet for you. They have decades of experience in running meets all the way from the middle school level to the IAAF athletic competitions on the international level. They partner with Finish Links and also with Mile Split, where you can see your data, see your reports, see all the things you need. They will run very efficiently and will get you all set up. So look them up at ntxtiming.com.
Yep. So we had some. We kind of did that a little bit while I was at UL.
Okay.
Oh well, especially on my women's jav side.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had athletes, which is very cool. I know he really likes that because he has a coaching tree for the most part. He really likes seeing us do good for sure. He's never wishing the worst on us. He's always wishing for the best.
For sure. So you mentioned Coach Talley earlier. You're a great high school coach.
Mm-hmm.
We always kind of want to give our listeners kind of where you started. So kind of go back, early days of middle school, and kind of what was your introduction to throwing to kind of maybe start you down this path? Who and what started you in throwing?
So the day I started throwing, was when my grandpa did the Senior Olympics, and I was throwing a javelin back to him that he was throwing. And that's the day it kind of started.
Really? How old
Yeah.
were you?
Oh, I was like, I had to be 8, maybe 8 or 9. Yeah, I was very young. We started soccer from probably 4 to about 11 or 12. And in between there, we were doing football and track and basketball.
Wow. Okay.
So that's kind of how it started. And then from there, I met Coach Talley. I was practicing at my high school at the time, but I was in middle school, and then I guess he kind of saw where I was technically. And at that point, my dad really had he was to the point to where he didn't know kind of what to do with me because he's never really technically had to coach, or he, I guess, really wasn't at the level I was at technically. So he didn't really know kind of what to say. But Coach Talley came over there one day, I think I was in 8th grade, and kind of was giving me some pointers. And then I started working with him. And then all the way through high school, I worked with Coach Talley.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Now, in my opinion, I'm probably a little biased, but I think he is probably the best high school coach for sure in Louisiana, but he's up there throws wise in the U.S.
Wow. Is he still coaching to this day?
Yep, still coaching. I think he's at St. Charles Catholic maybe right now, which is it's in Lake Charles, I want to say. But yeah, he coaches football and track and field.
Oh, wow. Was he a collegiate thrower?
I don't think he was, honestly. I think he went to Alabama, but I don't think he threw. He just really took a high interest in coaching track and field. So, but I don't think, yeah, very passionate about it.
Wow.
He does all that. He does clinics and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's over. I think he's over the person who books the clinics for the Louisiana High School Track and Field Coaches Association.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I spoke over there. He gets Derek Yush. He gets some pretty good people to come speak over there. And I think I spoke 2 years ago.
Nice.
Over there. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Did you do a Javelin talk?
Yeah, I did. So this was my first ever clinic, and it was 3 hours.
Oh, wow. You spoke for 3 hours?
3 hours straight. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. So I got kind of thrown into it, but it was a really good learning experience. And I learned a lot from that. But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Well, it had to be demo too. You did lecture time, then demo.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I probably didn't have enough demo in there, but yeah, for sure. That's how it kind of went. And I did each event. Yeah, so it was cool.
So now you mentioned your grandfather was a senior Olympian, a master's thrower.
Mm-hmm.
Was his background a thrower? Did he have it? Did you kind of look up to him as influence to kind of that introduction as well? Kind of tell us about him.
So I think he kind of was. It was a little bit different during that time though. But I honestly think he kind of took after it. Maybe I think it was one of his friends that kind of got into it. Okay. And then he's just very competitive. So he was like, I bet I could beat you in that, And I think that's kind of how it started with him throwing later. I think he did do it a little bit high school, college, but I'm not really sure to the extent of how much though, because it was just a little bit different. That's when they were running in the rocks and they had to dig to put their feet in there,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he was definitely an inspiration for me to go and throw. And to this day, yeah, I wish I said when so he was a big advocate of watching the news and reading the newspaper. And I was on the news interviewing, kind of doing what we're doing now, but I was getting interviewed about our national qualifiers at UL. And I just know that he would be like, I don't know what he would do if he saw that, it would have been crazy. So I would keep that in the back of my head. But yeah, he's definitely a big motivation for me, for sure.
Wow. So going back to Coach Talley, how did Talley kind of mold you as a thrower? Because you won state your senior in discus.
Mhm.
And then also your senior year, you won indoor shot put as well. So were you a glider and then you had javelin?
Yeah, so I was a glider. I was probably about 6 foot, maybe 6 foot even, maybe 6'1",
Yeah.
at 180 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And I think I ended up throwing around 55, but yeah, it was a glider. But what you don't see from a lot of high school coaches today is that they don't have the dedication that I find that he has, or that you guys have, to where you're willing to be out there whenever to get the
Yeah.
training that you want, and I think he gets a lot of joy. I see it now perfectly from my eyes, because you get a lot of joy seeing athletes do good. It's almost, well, it is better in my opinion seeing them do good than when I was competing. And then I also get more nervous now watching them compete than when I was competing, which is so, I guess because I have no control. You don't have any control, but it was just the dedication really from him, and then he pretty much knew what he was talking about too. That goes a long way.
Yeah.
But we were out there on Saturdays and Sundays sometimes, just kind of depending on his training, on what he wanted to get done for state and things like that, because the 3 events is just kind of tough in high school to do.
Yeah.
With
Now you played football too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I played tight end freshman year, and then I hurt my back bad in javelin. And then I just punted. I was a punter the rest of the time there.
Really?
Because my dad punted in college at Southern University. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I finished my senior year with an average of like 45. But I didn't know anything about the camps or anything like that, at the time. The
Yeah.
camps, how big the camps depend on you getting scholarship offers and things like that.
Yeah. Wow. You have a very diverse background
Yeah.
as a thrower as well. I had no idea you were a punter.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a punter.
Did you do kickoff or field goals as well?
I did do kickoffs every now and then and field goals every now and then, but we had a pretty elite kicker at the time who ended up going to kick at Southern Miss. He was a year under me. So he pretty much took over that, and I was just a punter at the time.
Wow. So during football season, did you throw? Did you train your throwing?
I did not.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't throw. As soon as it ended, well, I guess because Coach Talley was also a football coach. He was a special teams coach. But so I guess as once it started getting close to the end, we would start doing stuff here and there. But I didn't do anything, honestly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
which is it was very interesting.
Yeah.
But no, it would just be during track, and then I would go. But I went kind of long. I would go all the way through the summer.
Gotcha. So as a javelin thrower, you had to have a good right arm. So no quarterback, no baseball outfield or anything.
No,
like that. You just gravitated towards the javelin.
So it's funny that I've never played baseball. I've played probably literally every other sport that they've had out there, but I've never played baseball.
Wow.
I played disc golf. I golf. I'm telling you, every sport there is, I played, but I've never played baseball.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, and never played quarterback either. Never played quarterback.
I have a question kind of going back. Are we done with high school stuff? I'm going to go back to this college.
Yes, we're done with the
question.
He says we're done. We're done.
But I had this question earlier, and I was thinking, as a coach at TCU, not everybody gets into TCU, right? So your athletes are going to have to be pretty good in the books. So what can you, were you a good college student athlete? What can you bring to your throwers, or what great advice do you have when kids, get to you? Because that throwing is a full-time job in college, along with the standards that TCU is going to require in the classroom. So
yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you know from your years in college and how you can help your kids with that.
So I've kind of been through it all, honestly. So I feel like I can relate to the athletes that are struggling because my first semester was very bad at LSU. And you get there. LSU is kind of like a party school. So you get there, you're off of your leash from your parents, and like there's just so many things to do other than homework and stuff like that.
And go
So
throw.
yeah, so I've been there. I know how the athletes are. So I know how it is. So I feel like in that way I can kind of relate to them. But after the first semester, Coach had to sit me down. Coach Yush had to sit me down and talk to me. And he was like, look, you're not going to be able to throw if you don't get your stuff together. And pretty much. So I thank him to this day about that. But I just turned my stuff around, started doing my work, and everything was fine after that. But sometimes the athletes need that, and so that goes back to me saying you building that relationship with your athletes is a big deal. And you knowing what's going on is a big deal as well. So we have meetings every Monday, Tuesday, going over academics, and we're on our athletes, but we're to the point to where we don't want to recruit anybody that we see that is struggling in high school because we don't want them to come here and fail. So we do have an academic, I don't want to say a requirement, but we have
standard.
We do look at that stuff.
Yeah.
So that stuff is big on our end. We don't want you to come here and not be successful, but we do have all the tools for you to be successful. So you come here and you take advantage of that, you'll be fine. And we'll stay on you. Sometimes you need that that coach to play dad or mom role, to just kind of give you a push to kind of help you or kind of monitor you or push you because that's how it's been for you your whole life or, whatever it may be. But we're here to help them with that. Nah, thank you guys for having me. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
and dude, if there's anything we could do for you, like I told you, just feel free to ask. I'm a phone call away.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool what y'all doing for sure.
Appreciate it, man. Thank
Definitely
you so
making
much.
an impact. No problem. Y'all have a good one.
We'd like to thank Coach Hughes for being on. What a great hire, TCU. What a great hire to get some young, energetic guy that loves the throws behind your throws program, and he's going to hit the streets and get those big hitters out there. We know he is out of Texas and just create some life into the program. So, we're rooting for TCU and rooting for Coach Hughes and hope they hit many PRs in the time to come.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's a guy that learned from a very prestigious coach in Coach Rush and kind of honed his own way. But also, too, he wasn't but he wasn't a big-time great thrower. And I think sometimes, too, when you're not best at something, you kind of gravitate towards something else a little bit. And I think as much as he was sitting there training under Coach Rush, that he was also kind of keeping mental notes because he knew coaching was his future. And that's kind of catapulted him to get this TCU job.
Yeah, he said some really great things about building relationships with his athletes, understanding their mental state, working with them where they're at, not coming in trying to recreate stuff. I just think he's a guy that understands the college athlete, understands the athlete's mindset today. Today's athlete you got to coach the whole athlete, all the mental aspect, all parts of them, and be in tune to how they're feeling every day. And when you see them 6 days a week in college, that's huge. They need that. They need that. So those kids going to TCU with him are gonna get some great stuff.
For sure.
All right, let's thank our season 7 sponsor, TTFCA, Texas Track and Field Coach Association. Go check out that website for all the latest and greatest going on in Texas with track and field. fourthrows.com. Use the code TalkingThrows10 to get 10% off. They got a lot of closeout sales going on, like Jason mentioned at the beginning. So go check those out. If you're in Austin, Ready Up AD. Zach Phillips at 512-507-8347, or go to readyupad.com and check out everything that they do. And he has his basic throws strength program under Train Heroic. Great program. Go look at that. Use the code throws10 to get 20% off. And a big thanks to ntxtiming.com for being our new sponsor of season 7. They are a high-tech certified contractor. And what's great about them, what you can get with them is complete meat data management, downloading your entry, seating, reports, results posted live to the internet, to scoreboards, uploading their results into an entry portal. They can handle live splits, heat changes, all of these things that it takes a lot of coaches to do to run a meet. These guys can do all that for you so your coaches can coach kids. So make sure you reach out to them. And they also provide IAAF certified ultrasonic wind readings with any race. Now that may not apply to throwing, but that's I hear that running on the track is a big part of track and field too.
Yeah.
And my sarcasm, not just throwing. Yeah. But yeah, reach out to Carl Hornback at ntxtiming.com as you're scheduling your meets for the spring.
Hello, Talk and Throws Texas podcasters. I'm Bruce Caldwell. I'm here today to introduce the Fiber Sport Discus. Yes, many of you thought I only made great vaulting poles. I have been bringing quality discuses to the throwers' hands for over 40 years. First as Cantabrian USA representative, then for the past 10 years as the Nelco discus distributor. I introduced the yellow-plated discus for the plastic's best durability. If your Fiber Sport discus breaks, we replace it. Our studies have reached into the science of using a wind tunnel and adding microchips to the discus to find the spin, the gravity, the flight stability of the discus. We have found it's not about rim weight anymore. It's more about creating a balanced stability to allow the discus to fly and surf the wind. Our new Fiber Sport discus is made to be selected to fit your needs, no matter the weather, no matter the conditions. Check out our discus selection guide at fibersportdiscus.com and find a dealer in your area that sells our fine product. Thank you, Jason and Janelle, for allowing me to talk with your listeners on Talk and Throws Texas Style.
Big Frog Hollyville. They do all of our printing for us. Look up them and Lifting DFW.
Yes.
We got some great lifting going on, ready to train athletes. Kids are getting stronger. This guy knows how to teach your kids to get those Olympic lifts going and train to be a great thrower.
Did she just give me a compliment?
I'll cut this part out.
No, don't cut it out. You need to rerun it.
Well, I'll say when I'm.
Well, you just touched the
I did give you a compliment. You teach those kids how to be great lifters. Awesome.
Wow, that was the first compliment.
He's blushing.
I am. I'm shocked.
Thank you, guys.